So we'll start today a new session called Types of Extractions. I was supposed to show you today itself, but other system also not working. Let me try once again. Whenever we need it, yeah, that time it doesn't work. I think I have shown you the screenshots, right, last time? Okay. Fine then. Chalo, let's start the class today. The type of extractors. Okay. The type of extractors, if you want to use the extractors or anything, the main and powerful transaction code is going to be SBIW. From SBIW, I can do most of your activities in our ERP side. So, in this type of SBIW, whenever you open, you're going to get certain options here. General settings, business content data source, settings for application specific, customer generated extractors, generic data sources. These are the major options you're going to get whenever you type the transaction code called SBIW. From here you need to go for whatever the place you want to enter and you want to create anything or you want to execute anything. This is a place. For example, I want to create a generic data sources. Then you have to go to generic data source. I told you what is the meaning of generic data source. A generic is nothing but if any BW consultant will create a data source from the scratch, that is called generic. If you want to use a BW content data source, then you have to go to business content data source. This is a business content. So these are the options we have available in SBIW. According to your requirement, you can select anything. After creation of your data source, the next screen is you have to go to RSS6 or SC37. These are the true transaction codes which you need to use. Whenever you enter RSS6, it will take you to a screen called Post-Processing of Data Source. If you want to do any enhancements of your data source after your creation of your data source, then I have to go to this screen called Post-Processing of my data source. When I'm talking about a type of extractors, basically we have divided these extractors into two parts, application specific, cross application. If you talk about application specific, these are all application specific. That is called your BW content extractor, that is a predefined data sources. Under this we have a customer generated data sources also. If we talk about BW predefined data sources, we have a modules called FI, HR, CO, SAP CRM, Yellow Cockpit. These are all the BW predefined data sources, or I can call BW predefined extractors. You can call any name. So where it will store the data and application specific database tables, it will store the data. Here I can generate my own data sources under application specific, but it is very limited. That is LIS extraction, FISL extraction, then COPA. These are only the three parts where you can generate the extractors, nothing but data source. The data will be stored again under application specific database tables. Coming back to very important, the cross application specific extractors, you can call it is a generic extractor or you can call it is a generic data source. A generic data source is nothing but which we have to create everything from the scratch. Okay, so in this, either you can create a data source on top of table or a view or an info set or a function model. We have seen how to create a table, or you can use any existing. You can use all predefined tables, predefined views, predefined info offset, predefined tables, predefined views, predefined info sets, and predefined function modules. You can use existing one to create this data source. Then all the data source of the tables of the data will be stored in the database tables. Please observe, the data source is of structure, it's the empty structure, it doesn't contains any data. You always need to link this data source with the data. Where is the data? The data is located either in a table or in a view or an info set or in a function modules. So you need to always link any one of these data to your data source. Then only the data source will get the data. Otherwise, it is blank. If you go to SAP BW, when you're creating a data source, you are specifying where is a flat file is located. If you don't specify, you don't get the data, right? So whenever you're creating a generic data source, please remember you have to link any kind of data source. Where is the data? Either it is in a table, view, info set, function model. But when you are using a BW content data sources, you don't need to specify anything because they already done all these things. They already created everything. You have to simply select which data source you want to work, activate them, you can start working. You don't need to set up anything, you don't need to create anything. You need to start using only. That is called BW content extractors. And coming to generic extractors, which we need to create my data source from the scratch. That is a major difference in between business content data source and generic data sources. What are the generic extractors? It maintains a control parameters for data transfer. It has a limited of authorization for extractors. You can check your delta Q in RSS 7 and table, for example, VB data. That is a table where all your delta Q data will be available. What is a check delta Q? You know very well what is a delta. What is a delta? Any idea? Anyone?
Incremental.
What do you mean by incremental?
The next thing.
What happened, Raj? You forgot what is delta?
Yeah.
Okay. Delta is nothing but after loading the full load, whenever you're loading the data first time, you have to use a full data load. Whenever you're done, then from the previous load, it is going to check, is there any new records, is there any updated or modified records, is there any deleted records. Only those records will be loaded. It doesn't load again the full data because the full data has been loaded already in a previous load. As per the previous load, what is the new data you have? It is going to ask a question in that to the data source. What is a new thing? I have already 100 records. I have already loaded. Apart from the 100 records, do you have any newly created records or updated records or deleted records? Only those records will be loaded. That is called delta. Okay. Delta load means loading the modified records or updated records or newly created records since from the previous load or current load. BW delta Q is a store for the delta records. If you go to BW delta Q, it contains a store of the delta records. That is called RSS 7. In a BW delta Q, data is stored in a compressed form. BW delta Q supplies the delta records for several data targets. Example, BW itself. So where this delta information will store, there is a table called VB data. That is a delta related information will be stored under this table. Parameters of data transfer from R/3 to BW. First thing, you should have a source system, maximum size of your data packets, maximum number of records, frequency of IDOC, maximum number of parallel process, what is a target system, what is the maximum number of data packets you want to load. You should have all these parameters ready with you. Now we're going to see that how to create a generic data source. Generic data source, cross application specific. The transaction code I'm going to use, it is called RSO2. Okay, so let's create a generic data source. Log on to your SAP. No, it is still not opening. Okay, last time if you remember what is the master data we have created, I think this is the master data. Okay, click on display, click on contents, click on execute. I have 3 records here. Okay, let's load these 3 records into your BW system. If I want to load these 3 records into BW system, then what I need to do? The first thing is the transaction code RSO2. Whenever I enter RSO2, it will open maintain generic data source. Here, what type of data source you're going to create? This is a one way. I'm going to show you another option, the method 2, SBIW I told you. Enter SBIW. Then here you have to create a generic data source, expand your generic data source. This is a use of SBIW. It is called display IMG. IMG stands for implementation guide. You can do most of your activities from this. This is one of the major transaction code in R/3 side, SBIW. Okay, click on generic data source. You come to the same screen. Okay, so you need to decide whatever the data source you're going to create. Let's say I'm going to create a data source for master data attributes 7 a.m. Okay, once you're done, click on create. Now it is going to ask you, if you remember in the BW side, we have created our data source under application component. Here also it is going to ask you application component. We have a predefined application components. Click on a browse. You can see there is a SAP R/3 SAP application components. If you expand this, it will display all your application component based on your modules. For example, I am selecting SD module. This is my application component. Your SD module will display here. Enter your short and long description. Sales data source for master data attributes. Copy this, paste and paste. Please remember I am creating a data source. Now it is going to ask me what is your data, where is your data. My data is in my database table. What is your database table? It is ZMD TB _ 7 AM. Okay, now go back here. You need to enter your table name, whatever the table you have created, or you can enter any existing table also. This is where you're going to link your table with your data source. Once you've done this one, click on save. Whenever you click on a save, it is going to ask you package. You need to enter package. Anyone remember what is a package? It will open the data source screen where you have to select these fields are coming from the table. It's create your extract structure. Once you're done, click on save. Whenever you click on a save, it will display data source has been created successfully. This is how you're going to create a data source. Once you create a data source, you have to go to the post-processing of your data source. That is called RSS6/n RSS6. Now tell me under which components we have created this data source?
SD. SAP
Expand. Yeah, expand SD. Please check. We have created our data source. 7 a.m. it is available. If you want to take it for enhancements, you can go for do the enhancements. Otherwise, you can simply check here. That is what you need to do here. So it should display under your application components after creation of your data source. This is what you're checking in RSA 6. Once it is done, the next thing is /n RSA 3. This is called extractor checker. What it is doing here, you have to enter your data source technical name. I don't remember what is it. What is our data source technical name? RS02. Go here. This is my data source technical name. Okay. Now enter RSA 3. It is going to ask you what is your data source technical name and the request ID. You can enter anything. By default it will take test. Then if you click on extractor, it is going to extract the data from your table and into your data source. It is going to display what is the number of records the table contains. It says it has 3 records. Click on this. How do I check that 3 records has been loaded into my data source or not? Click on a list. When you click on a list, it will show you the number of packets. One packet contains 3 records. Double click on the packet. It will display the 3 records. So what happens? I have created my data source with my table. My data source is ready now. The next what I need to do? Once you created your data source, what is the next step? My data source is ready. Anyone can guess this? What I need to do, Raj?
Yeah, I'm missing. I'm unable to follow, Kiran.
What you're missing?
I'm missing the connections. The screen to screen.
What exactly you missed?
The steps.
What steps you've done? Raj, tell me one by one steps. Till where you missed?
Using the transaction code SBIW, we have created a generic data source under R3 SD. Okay, that's
Okay.
it. And next, from next screen, I just missed that particular thing.
What we did actually, we created one data source. Okay, we selected master data attributes, we entered this, we created a data source like this. Done. Once you created a data source, you have entered your table name. Then you click on save. It will take you to screens where you have to enter you have to select all your fields. Once you're done, you enter into RSA 6. To check under which application component you have created. If I go to RSA 6, expand your application component, expand your specific application component you selected, you can observe your newly created data source under your application component. Once it is available, you have successfully created data source. But there is no data. You have just linked the table, but you have not extracted the data into the data source. Then I enter into RSA 3. Go to RSA 3, enter your data source technical name, click on extraction. When you click on extraction, what happens? It will extract the data from the table into your data source. It will display the number of records. If you want to observe this number of record, click on list. It will show you how many data packets has been selected, how many records has been loaded. Expand this. It will show you how many records has been loaded from the table into data source. Is it clear, Raj, now?
Yes, Kiran.
Okay, till here we have done. Once you completed, this is the steps which you have to do in a SAP ERP side. Now minimize your ERP screen. Now you need to log on to BW screen. Once you log on to BW screen, first thing is RSA 13. Why I need to go to RSA 13? because I need to specify what is my source system. What is your source system? My source system is ECC. Okay, that is my source system. This is my source system, not flat file. Right click on it, click on check. Okay, connection is failed. Very good. Why you batch is getting so many errors? All the batches whatever we completed simultaneously, we have not received this kind of errors. This is the first time till now for all the batches I never got this kind of error. The RFC connection. The first time I'm getting this. I'm not happy with this. We cannot do anything. BI logical system, BI 7.3 client. Okay, let me close this. We'll try again opening. Raj, can you check in your system? Are you getting the same error?
Yes, Kiran. I'm checking. I'll check.
This is not acceptable here. This is created by this technical people. We cannot create also. No. The system also not working today. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, once you log on to BW system, right click on your source system, click on check. I'll show you the screenshot, that list. Tomorrow we'll do again this one. What I can do. Okay, till here you clear, right? We extract the data by using SAP RSA3. It says 3 records has been extracted. Click on list. It will show you the data packet and number of records. Okay, so once you check this RSA3, it will show you the number of data packets. You need to double click on your data packet. It will display number of records. Once your number of records is cleared, your data source is ready. Close your ERP system, log on to your BW system. So once you go to the BW system, the first transaction code is RSA13. Go here, right click on your ECC client or R/3 connection, check. When you check, it will show you the system is okay. Once you've done this one, then you need to enter inside. What I need to do? I need to double click on my source system. After right clicking on check, you need to double click. When you double click, it will take you inside of the application component. Don't bother about this one. It is called data source only. You can directly go to data source also. Okay, I'll show you in a live screen. Then you will understand. The live system, for example, your connection is right. When you right click on check, your connection is okay. Then what I need to do? Double click on it. It will take you to inside. You can see this is a data source only, but it will display all the data source belongs to your source system. Can you see here? What is a source system? ECC client, not your flat file. Yes, but I'm just explaining to you what we can do on this. You want me to stop here? I will stop it. I don't have any issues. Tomorrow we'll continue.
Yes, Kiran.
Okay. So even your systems also it is not working. Fine. Tomorrow we'll continue. Again this one I'm going to show you tomorrow. Fine guys, then we'll meet tomorrow. I'll check with these people and I'll ask him to check this. We're getting so many problems, and unfortunately there is one more system I have. That is also not working today. Chalo, we'll meet tomorrow. I think I'll make sure the system will be working by tomorrow morning, and we'll do the same exercise tomorrow again. We are really far behind the schedule. Don't worry, because of systems. Chalo, this system is also not working. Okay, thank you guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye.